So this is behind the scenes now. This is a totally behind the scenes video. I'm going to explain this to you. Okay, this isn't me playing a character. I'm just going to explain this to you on this. And I'm not playing a character anyway when I do these videos. You're just, like I said before, the videos you're seeing me do, like, dude, this is like if you were standing in front of me. This is exactly what you'd be getting. But I'm going to explain the behind the scenes on some of this. When I talk about the minimum wage being raised to $162 an hour, and I can back that up mathematically, by the way, just using gold price, okay, and just using gold in terms of your ounces. Ounces earned 1971 prior to August 15th of 1971 versus right now, okay, 1.83 ounces of gold per week, which would be about $162 an hour minimum wage. That is verifiable math. Anybody can do it. So that's the first part. But when I talk about this stuff, you understand that's a tactic, right? I do understand that in the free market sense of the word, if you have a hard currency, no, you don't need to have a minimum wage. I understand that. I understand that better than people who wrote books on that. Okay, trust me, I have a better understanding of this. I'm pointing out, I'm taking this to the logical conclusion that if you're going to have a currency that is completely free-floating fiat garbage like the US dollar, that is conjured out of nothing, that is true. 100%. It is conjured from nothing. It is a worthless currency that has no intrinsic or mathematical value of any kind to it. If you're going to have that, then you have to be able to have your minimum wage coming up because they're not going to stop printing dollars. That's why you do that. You have to use the force of law to do something like that. Right? You understand? That's a tactic that I'm explaining. And like, well, but why not just fix the money? Because it's easier for me to explain to people. It's easier for people to wrap their head around about increasing the minimum wage to $162 an hour. That is easier for people to understand, especially if they've had their brains cooked for the last several decades with endless amounts of propaganda, than it is for me to try and take somebody back 1,000 years and then spend 600 hours explaining economic theory and history to them and how money works. Dude, that takes a long time. It's very quick to collapse a currency by going headlong, by accelerating this whole process that will teach, like, there's some lessons that need to be learned, and sometimes there's no other way to teach a lesson than to drop people in the middle of that and see it from the inside out. Does any of that make sense?